Okay, welcome to level 4 B-side, or chapter 4 B-side. I'm a little bit worried about how hard this is going to be. Yeah, Yep, that's the kind of day it's gonna be, huh? At least the music is really good so far. So there's that. I'm digging the tune. Really reminds me of, like, you know, Earthbound and SNES games. Like that kind of, like, quirky feel. Which is a bit weird in a game that's currently taking great joy in murdering me. Not like... What I mean by Earthbound feel isn't that it sounds like it's from Earthbound, but that it's got that same, like all the music in Earthbound and Earthbound itself as a game has a really quirky feel, right? Like, that's the game, and that's definitely intentional. Like, the creators 100% intended for it to have that feeling. All the other games have it. Though I think Earthbound executes the best on the quirkiness. You can argue that Mother 3 is a better game overall, but Earthbound executes the best on the quirky aspect. That could have gone better. Anyway, so as I was saying, in case you're wondering why Earthbound executes better on the quirky aspect than, say, Mother 3 does, is because Mother 3 is too busy being depressing to execute as well. Like, it's too busy having its super serious story that is super depressing to have the same kind of, like, Earthbound is lighthearted, but that is over, like, the darkness. Like, you get what I mean? Like everything is bright and colorful, but it's still a kind of dark game. And so, but it's still a bright enough game that darkness feels quirky rather than, the way Mother 3 feels, which is, like, you know, this is dark. Like, it's a different feel. Yeah, okay, that's an interesting series of jumps you have to do there to get your dash back. But yeah, so like, Mother 3 is super dark, and that's not a bad thing. But it definitely does detract from, like, the quirkiness of the other, like, it detracts from the quirky feel, by quite a bit compared to, like, Earthbound. So yeah, that's why Earthbound is the quirkier game. Oh, something else I was just thinking about while I was transitioning between episodes, because I had my Steam open, is, like, it shows the percentage of, like, what percentage of people have completed, achievements, right? And I always find it interesting how few people have beaten most games. Like, that, like, a lot of games that are, like, even games that I consider really good have, like, terrible, like, terribly low amounts of, people beating them, and I think that's really interesting, because it's like, you've bought this game, it's good, but you're just not gonna finish it. And it's interesting to think about what that says about players. Okay, managed to fit it. Now I've just gotta... Oh... Would have been so cool if I first tried that, right? Like... Would have been awesome. But now I'm gonna have a hard time even getting through the part that I did on the first try. It's okay, I'm just, you know, figuring out all the ways one can die in this section, right? Like, it's important to do, you know? Gotta know all the places I can die, so that way I can go die there. Like that, yeah. I'm just gonna slowly slide to my death, I guess. That's the kind of day it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of day it be. Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes that's just how life is, you know? Well, crap. I'll at least go look ahead and see what's in front of me, I guess. Oh, well, whoops. Not the type of jump I meant to do there. That definitely could have gone better. Anyway, but I just find it interesting what it says about people that, you know, we've presumably spent money on games, like fairly substantial amounts of money on a lot of games. Like, most games are not cheap, and yet still people will just not finish them. Like, and some of that's that a lot of people who buy games don't really have the time to play all the games they buy. I'm definitely guilty of that. Part of the reason I started doing a YouTube channel is because now I have more of an excuse to spend time playing games. And even then, I'm gonna, have beaten Celeste this month? Not even in a month. Like, this will have taken me longer than a month to do. Well, crap. And, like, that's just one game, and, like, I get more than 12 games in a year, that's for sure. Because a lot of games come out these days, and even if I only pick up the ones that really, you know, are good, and in genres I like Celeste, which is a really good platformer, even if those are the only games I pick up, that's still way more than 12. And, like, this is where the limit on my time is beating this many games in a month, right? Like, I don't have time to beat more games than that unless they're super short. You know, like, I played Two Brothers when it came out a couple of years ago, and that's a pretty short game, so it didn't, like, super hard tax my time. That's another thing I find interesting when I see that people haven't beaten games that are only like 2 hours long. Like, I'm like, why is there 10% achievement get on this game that I thought was at least, you know, decent, and it's only 2 hours long? It's not like it's a huge investment to beat it, right? Like, it's a pretty small investment as things go. But people are people, and they'll do weird things. You know, not everyone's gonna decide to beat a game. I hope one day to be able to say I've beaten every game I own. I don't think that'll ever happen, because the last couple of years I've been busier, and so I've been pretty stagnant. I've been getting about as many games each year as I beat. And this year and last year, I didn't even manage that. Heck yeah. Made it through. So like this year and last year, I didn't even manage that. I actually slipped behind a little bit. Which, if you're wondering, I keep a list. I'm that kind of person. I keep a list of every game I own and whether I've beaten it or not. Oh, forgot to actually grab it. That's kind of important. And I'm like at, I think, 55% right now. I think the highest I've ever been was 56%. So like, it's not like I fell behind a lot the last 2 years. I just fell behind a bit. Whoops. So like, it wasn't a huge deal that I like, oh no, I've completely fallen behind. It's more like, I was so close to not dying. I do love all these platforming challenges in here. They always feel so good when you successfully complete them. Celeste as a game, it feels amazing. It reminds me a lot of playing a lot of my favorite platformers where everything like felt fair. And that's what I really like, is games that feel fair. And a game that feels fair is honestly more about setting up expectation than anything else, right? Like, take Dark Souls. A lot of people think that game doesn't feel fair, but I thought it felt just fine. It felt fair to me. But that's probably because of a different expectation that I went in with. I'm used to playing those kinds of games that require you to be on guard, to be looking out at all times, to be ready. Like, yeah, there are times when you'll be running around in Dark Souls and something will just mug you from around a corner, and if you're not prepared for that reality, that something can just mug you from around a corner, they're gonna hit you, it's gonna feel cheap, and it's gonna suck. But Dark Souls does a pretty good job of preparing you for that reality that you're gonna get jumped from around that corner. Like, I don't know. Playing the game, I always got the sensation from it that something was going to mug me from around that corner. And part of that's probably also the build I tend to play in those games. I always go something with either balanced stats, which is my favorite build, in any game in which I can get away with it. Because I like experiencing all the different playstyles. So in any game in which I can eventually level everything up to max, I will always go balanced. Every single time. I prefer to grind more if I need to make that a fun experience. Like, if that's what I need to do to make balanced fun to play, that's what I will do to make balanced fun to play. Just because that's the kind of playstyle that I enjoy. I'm digressing. But back before I played balanced, I played tankier. And so that's a bit of a different experience, because even if I get jumped, I'm not gonna die, right? And like, I've definitely, especially when playing online, seen people that are going around with, you know, very not tanky builds who don't seem to actually know how to dodge. Which is, you know, an important thing to know how to do if you're gonna try and go a squishy build. You have to know how to get out of the way. You have to be constantly prepared to get out of the way of everything in that game. And that's just true of all games like that. If you don't know the game well enough, go a more durable build. And a lot of people don't because they're used to games being a little bit more hand-holdy, right? Like, they're used to games that are a little more of the kind where you can get away with that. But Dark Souls is the kind of game that's like, nah, if you don't pay attention, I'll just kill you. Like, it doesn't care. And that's a good and a bad thing. But again, it's about expectations. If you set yourself up for the reality that it is like that, then it can be a really good experience and feel really interesting. But if you're not set up for that reality, it'll feel really bad to play. Oh, went a little too fast there. Oh, yeah, didn't realize that I needed to get to the other side of it. Oh, wait, how am I supposed to... How am I supposed to get to the other side of it again? Do I have to spend my dash there, maybe? Okay, that's how. Not even close, baby. Not even close. Sorry for the lack of commentary for probably about a solid minute there, but that was an intense little floating up section. But yeah, like I said, a lot of good game design is ultimately about managing player expectations for your game. Like, that's ultimately what it's about. Like, if players expect certain things and they don't get them, they're going to be super angry. And part of game design is realizing that you don't set expectations all the time. You know? Like, why do those people have those expectations for Dark Souls? It's very clear as a game the kind of game it is, right? But they've played other games that aren't like that, that are kinder, and do give you more options for, say, regaining health during combat that Dark Souls just doesn't have. So it's easier to go those kinds of squishy builds, and they've decided they've liked them when playing other games. And that's not the developer of Dark Souls' fault. Like, that's not From Software's fault. But they do have to, but part of good game design is managing those expectations. And you're not going to be able to manage them for everybody, right? Anyway, I will continue this diatribe on expectations in the next episode, so see you tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me I'm being dumb in the comments if you want. And I will see you guys later.